Hey there, I am Erica Latrice, and I say all the time, my passion, my purpose is helping you to live yours. And this is my all new Amplify Her series where I'm just digging in and answering questions that I get quite often from women, hopefully women like you who are visionaries, powerhouses, and they're ready to turn their message into a movement. So the question that I'm answering today on this video is, where do I start? I get so many people reaching out to me just asking, how do I get started? I have this idea for an organization, a nonprofit, a book. I want to speak more, all of these things. And so what I'm talking about today is 3 things that you can do to get started. That is one of the most frustrating places to be in, let me tell you. If you are someone who has a big vision, it's easy to just have so many ideas that you really can get stuck. So that's what we're talking about today. And the first thing that I would encourage you to do, the first thing that you want to do when you're thinking about where do I start, number 1, write it out. Write it out. And that seems so basic, but when you take pen to paper, or I guess fingertips to keyboard, so much can happen just by having a clear vision and writing that plan out. So if you're wondering, like, where do I start? How do I get started? Brain dump. You probably have like a gazillion ideas if you are a visionary, but you want to start with the end in mind. So write out what the full vision would look like for you. It may not go as planned. It may not be exactly what you're expecting, but write out the entire vision, what you see. And one of the exercises that I do so often with some of the women that I work with is telling them to imagine their 100-year-old self in a rocking chair, reflecting back on their life and how everything has been amazing. What would that look like for them? And if you want more details on that, you can definitely get plugged in to the Amplify Her membership that I have. And we go every single week. There's a new training to help you pull some of this vision out, pull the ideas out. But this is one simple place that you can start, and that's literally just writing it out. So if you found yourself in a place where you're feeling kind of like uncertain on that first step, once you have the entire vision, I promise you something is going to stand out as to what you can do today. And there's this really good book that I always recommend to so many people, The One Thing. I'm telling y'all, that book, I'm going to put my Amazon link. If I still have it, I'm going to put that in the comment section. But yes, that book has changed my productivity like nothing else. And I read it years ago. And what's so amazing about it is that it helps you get down to the one thing that you should be doing today. Too often we can get so overwhelmed by what we're trying to get done years from now, months from now, stuff that has literally nothing to do with today. And when you get overwhelmed by those things, the natural response is that you get basically paralyzed by today. You don't even know what to do today because you're so busy thinking about how things will unfold months and years from now. So taking a principle from The One Thing, as I said, number 1, you're writing out the big vision. And from that big vision, you can basically reverse engineer down to today. And know what exactly it is that you could be doing right now. Because if you're not waking up every single day with a clear plan of action, you're not going to see results. I will never forget, there was someone that I spoke with. This was years ago. I spoke with her years ago, and she was telling me about this vision that she had, basically to start her own nonprofit. And in this vision, I mean, it was the idea. It was great. It was a really good idea. But I just knew that when I left that meeting, nothing was going to happen, because it was as if she had this thought that years from now, her nonprofit was just going to magically just take place. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. The seeds that you're planting right now, the things that you do today, that's what opens the doors for the things down the line. There are some exceptions to the rule. People go viral, really cool opportunities come. But if you want consistency, if you want longevity, it's so important that you start identifying the actions that you need to take today before you can get to tomorrow. Now, the second thing that I would encourage you to do if you're trying to figure out where to start, not only are you beginning with the end in mind, you must identify obstacles that will come up. And I share this because I don't know if any of you are fans of Zig Ziglar. I love Zig Ziglar. But he talked about where people will spend an entire year just going on with what excuse, like, oh, I'm gonna get started once the kids are back in school. No, the holidays are coming up. I'm gonna wait until after the holidays. Oh, well, right after the holidays, here comes something else. And we keep making all these excuses. We keep putting it off and off and off until nothing has happened. Years have passed. And when you're thinking about what action you should take, it's so important that you identify your most common obstacles. If your common obstacle is that you procrastinate, or that if you get overwhelmed, you tend to quit, or if someone gives you negative feedback, then you get disheartened and you just throw in the towel. Identify those things that typically trip you up. Because if you can get clear on what it is that keeps you stuck, if you can identify those things that have you hesitating, that have you afraid to step out, or that usually end up being the biggest obstacle for you, now you can create a plan of action. So when that comes up, you do not quit. And I do this, I think about this too with working out. I have been, y'all, I don't know if you can you see the gun? But I started working out years ago. And I remember I actually went through this period too, don't get me wrong, where I just quit. But years ago, I started working out and identifying these obstacles, because I already knew that certain things were going to make me want to quit. Certain things like fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, certain things like waking up and not feeling like it, things like other opportunities coming along, wanting to hang out with my friends, all kinds of stuff. And so once I started identifying those obstacles, I knew what I needed to do. And I'll never forget being on the phone with my best friend, and she was talking about, I was telling her, like, complaining, borderline near tears, like, oh my God, every time I get, focused, I just eat chocolate chip cookies, and I'm eating like 6 and 7 at a time, sometimes a dozen. And she said something so basic, but I hadn't thought of it, y'all. She said, why do you keep buying chocolate chip cookies? Don't bring them in the house. You will not have the temptation if you stop bringing the chocolate chip cookies in your house. And that sounds so basic, like, duh. But it was not, like, for me, I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. So I actually stopped buying the chocolate chip cookies, because I was going through the whole process of baking them, taking them out of the oven and eating them. But by just not bringing them in the house, I eliminated that temptation. And I know that's kind of like a lightweight version of what I'm driving home for you today, but it's in the small, back to the basics, consistent steps that you're going to start seeing results. So if you have a vision, number one, you've already taken time, or I hope you pause the video or whatever you need to do to get the big picture of this vision. Understand what the end will look like. And then secondly, identify the obstacles. Identify the obstacles. Understand what's going to trip you up so that you have a plan of action when it comes. And another thing that I did when it came to working out, I realized if I finished my workout before 10 a.m., then I was more likely to stay consistent, check it off, and just be done with it. And so that is how I was able to maintain and still have years of exercise instead of like falling off the wagon after 2 weeks of working out. And so that's the first two things that I would tell you today. If you have the question, I'm stuck, where do I start? The third thing is developing your daily routine. Now, I feel like these things sound simple, but I know I can speak for myself. I know so many people that have these big visions and they wonder why they can't stay consistent. Well, they don't have a consistent daily routine. And by consistent, I mean, what is it that you uniquely to you can you commit to? Like, some people get all hyped, like 5 a.m. club, but I have a client that actually gets up or doesn't get up at 5 a.m., stays up all night because of just the way that their life is set up, and it's more convenient with small children. So don't get stuck in this whole, like, what other people say you need to do in terms of what that routine needs to be. But I'm telling you, you want to develop a routine. For that reason, I actually created the Focus Fast. It's something that I do every day. And the Focus Fast is basically, it's a book that I wrote because I was so stuck. I was in a place where I could not, for the life of me, get anything done. I could like get hyped for a day, but consistency, forget about it. You can go through my YouTube right now and see how often I've fallen off with the consistency. And then when I developed the Focus Fast, it was basically a 21-day fast I created based off of people that I found to be successful, people that were hitting their results, and I wanted those results. And so I realized that there were 5 things that when I was doing these 5 things on a consistent basis, my life catapulted, my vision grew, my life shifted. And so you can go to thefocusfast.com. I'll put the link in the description. If you want to I dare you, take the 21-day challenge. You can just grab the book, which is less than like $20, or you can take the actual challenge with me talking to you every single day. But develop a daily routine. Develop a routine. If you don't have a consistent routine, I can guarantee you're going to keep finding yourself back in this place of being stuck. Or you will get to a place where things are happening, but you're so overwhelmed you can't enjoy it because you don't have just habits. And there is something so powerful about habits, because when you create these habits, that is what will make it feel like autopilot. It will not even feel like work. And that's what you want to get to. There are certain things, and I'll just break down really quick. The Focus Fast, part of it is feeding your mind every day, outlining your day, conditioning your body, being urgent with the tasks that actually matter, and taking time to visualize and see yourself successful. And so those are things that I now do on autopilot. And this isn't about me, honey. This is about you making that vision and allowing it to take place. And I say this so often to different people to understand that the vision that you have is beyond you. The days that I get up when I don't want to, the days that I step out when I don't want to, the days that the women that I work with, when they come to these events and they step on stage and they share their message, a lot of times we think we're just fighting for ourselves, but I can guarantee you, as cliche as it sounds, there are literally people waiting for you to step out. So you cannot afford to delay. You can't afford to keep putting your goals and your dreams on the back burner, because I, for one, believe it is not a coincidence that you have the vision that you have. It's not a coincidence. And so the more that you ignore some of the basic steps, the longer it's going to take for you to start seeing the fruit of that vision. So just to recap for you guys, number 1, write the vision, make it plain, dump it out, write everything that you can think of that's going to happen with the vision that you have. Because if you're stuck or if you're not quite sure where to start, you have to have like a full picture of what it is that you're actually even trying to accomplish. The second thing that you want to do is identify those obstacles. Understand the things that are going to try to trip you up, because when you can eliminate those obstacles right at the beginning, you become unstoppable. Nothing's going to stop you. And then finally, I promise my nose only itches when I'm creating videos. But finally, the thing that you want to do is develop a daily routine. And if you don't have a daily routine, if you don't know where to start, 5 of the most powerful habits that you can take on, I would encourage you to go to thefocusfast.com, grab the book, get the training, whatever you need to do so that you can start developing these habits. And I would challenge you with the Focus Fast to decide on one thing that you're going to accomplish in the next 21 days. One big shifting thing that you're going to accomplish, and it's going to be so powerful for you. So that is my message for you guys today. And I'm sharing this because in this Amplify Her series, my passion, my goal for you is to help you expand your reach, increase your voice, to stand on your story. And part of your expansion is having a clear foundation, setting those standards, setting that system in place, setting those things and those habits that are going to take you down the road for the long haul, that's going to help you start seeing those results over a long period of time. And that's what it's all about. So if you have not connected with me, you can do so across social media at Erica Empowers. Insert commercial plugs right now. Make sure that you subscribe, tap the bell to get notifications, stay connected with me here on YouTube as a part of this Amplify Her series, so that I can just encourage you and help you to start expanding your reach and turning your message into a movement. And I also would encourage you, if you do have a message that you're ready to start sharing on more platforms, if you're ready to get booked out for the next year, Go to amplifyherlife.com/apply. Make sure that you put your application in so that you can attend my next live event. We travel the nation, Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, Houston. We'll be doing an international event, and it's just so much fun, but it's really a great tool for you to get connected to other women like yourself so you can start getting your message out without hesitation. I love you ladies, and I guess a few gents for watching, and just stay connected. Go out and make today amazing, because it is absolutely a choice.